What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Wednesday night Philly 4 for 4 plus more. That's right, we're fourth and go. I'm Dave Gleckner. That's Marc Tomasini. What's up, my man?
What up? What up? You know what it is? It's a happy Harden day.
Oh, dude, it's so cool. I mean, and we're going to get into all that, but just today, I went into the city for work, and you could just feel it. Like, go out to lunch, grab a little bit, and, listen to the radio. Everybody's just ready for Harden Day. And, we had a little family party here, watching it all together, just getting juiced up. And the first half wasn't going as well as we'd like.
Yeah.
But we're getting there now.
Yeah. No, we're back on track. I mean, everybody's hitting. So third quarter they put up 8. They were 8 for 11 from beyond the arc. So it was just a matter of hitting.
I absolutely. So we're going to get into the show tonight. We'll definitely rip the Sixers first, talk about Harden's debut in Minnesota and his garden party, or as they call it, a Harden party last Sunday. Tonight, home debut. Look at what the Sixers prospect look at long-term, what maybe some rumors are about what they're trying to do to just kind of solidify the team going into the home stretch here into the playoffs. We'll talk some NFL news, couple things floating around as far as the Eagles go, but then there's also some other things floating around about the QB carousel. And then we'll touch on the MLB. What's it going to take for us to really get back, because they're pissing me off.
Officially in the lockout, and Manfred has a smile on his face at the press conference.
It's
a problem.
It is sickening. All right, buddy, let's open it up with the Harden show. And that was Friday night in Minnesota. Coming off the All-Star break, we were all anticipating this. Me, you, we talked about it last week. You were much closer to stat line probably than I was. I hit the assist area and the rebounds, but you had him pegged around 27, 28 points, if I remember right.
No, I think I said 32.
32, okay, and I was 22.
Yeah.
So we split it. Yeah. We split right in the middle. I was never worried about the minutes. I thought he was going to get the volume. Wasn't sure how much he'd shoot, but he had some big moments in that Minnesota game when he needed to. And that was the cool part. Like, he put 17 in the first half, and we're all like, yeah. And then second half cooled down until he needed to. And he hit 2 step-back threes, closes out, I think, with, what was it? My notes aren't here, but 25 that night, I want to say. Maybe it was 27. But either way, the first night, the returns were awesome already, weren't they?
Yeah. No, I mean, there's so many facets to his game that he brings, and that he's just changed the dynamic of this whole team. We're going to get to the roles that these players have, but I think what he brings to this game, both offensively and defensively, shock you there. Offensively and defensively, he's changing the look of the Sixers. It's kind of just the ripple effect from his play on offense and what he can do. I mean, I saw it on Sunday, at the Harden party, where there was time the Knicks were coming back.
Yep.
And I literally said, and I was watching with my girlfriend, I said, he's bringing the ball up court. I said, he's going to pop. He's going to stop right here, because he's looking for it. And I could tell there's 2 times he was looking, but like as he was bringing the ball up the court, I said, I guarantee you he's going to dribble, he's going to step back, and he's going to pop. Both times he did exactly that and made them. And
awesome.
That's one of the biggest things is that I've already noticed. Like, it's different than Joel. Like, Joel can do it, but he's got to have the right situation happen. Like, the defense has to falter a little bit. Harden is going to look you dead in the eye, bring the ball up the court, stand at the top of the key, and just say, I'm going to step back, and I'm going to drain this, and I'm going to end this 8-0 run that you're going on right now. And he did that twice on Sunday.
And it shows the unselfishness, right? Because he can turn it on. He could do that anytime he probably wanted.
He could take over possession.
But basketball is a game, a team game. They say football is the ultimate team game. I don't disagree, but basketball, it's a team game as well. Not one man has ever won a title. And talking about one man that I haven't talked to in quite a while, but since last week, we were going to meet up at the Steam Pub last night, but we punted until next week. Adam Cease, what's up, brother? I hope you're enjoying the Sixers. Looking so good. About to be 3-0 with James Harden. And, we'll get into where this team is headed, the trajectory, what their really expectations are now. As we kind of guessed what they were last week, we might have a tweak to what that was coming into this week. We'll see. But Cease, great hearing from you. We'll definitely talk a lot of good Philly stuff tonight, and I know we'll catch up soon. But yeah, Mark, we got off. It was 27 at Minnesota, 29 then at New York.
Yeah.
Average 28 so far. He's set, I think he's 28, 14, and 9. It was the best debut for someone ever in a new uniform in 2 games. And the combo of Maxey, Embiid, and Harden, I think we're second in NBA history in total points scored over their first 2 games as a combo. You had to go back to like the 61 Lakers with Chamberlain. And it's crazy what they were starting to do. And then you get into tonight, only 25 points in the first quarter. Things are looking a little sluggish, and now they're sitting at 107 with 6.5 minutes left in the fourth, and they're going to hit these numbers again. And it's clear, it's apparent, and I know you see it, and I know most Sixers fans see it, but the third wheel is Maxey, and the space that he now has is just so wide, and what he can do out there with that space and his speed is amazing. I'm just like, I knew the kid was good. We always will go back to the night we were on air for the NBA draft, pumped up when we got him at 21. But to know that he can be even this much better with better players, he's been the biggest eye-opener for me in these first 2 games. As much we know Harden, we're basketball guys.
Right.
Not overly surprised by his excellence. But Maxey, I'm what was he? 28 Minnesota, 21 New York.
Yep.
And he's over 20 again tonight.
So the thing is, Maxey did, I think today with John Clark, his podcast, and they were talking about it, and they were like, what's the have you run plays or whatever? They only have maybe 4 plays scripted that they run from time to time, but this truly is, and you and I have both jumped into a gym to play pickup ball, and literally what you have right now is just a dream team of guys who got together right before going on a run and just went playing 12 straight games in a row, where it's talent. It's talent. The 3 of them are just so talented. And that's what he said. He goes, it's pretty much just like playing pickup, and you're just running, and just it's talents, happening. But the thing is with Maxey, and I'll admit it, when we got Harden, the only thing I said is, because Maxey has been having a great year, but I worried a little bit that maybe his production would lessen.
I wondered. I definitely wondered. Right. Yep.
Because, Harden needs the ball. And look, I mean, that's just the way it is. He demands the ball.
And I thought Tyrese was better with the ball as well.
Yes.
I know he's shooting 40% from 3, but I just thought, it wasn't. I just thought it would be a weird guess. It's not.
But that's not the case. And I truly think that he's playing faster, and it's hard to believe that he could play any faster than he is, but he's moving at a different speed. And I think everybody is doing everything at a more heightened pace. Matisse's defense has been heightened.
Yep.
Maxey has gotten faster. I mean, Embiid's able to go on the pick and roll. It's,
the pick and pop
game, the pick and pop game, the pick and roll game. I mean, and Harden, and here's the thing: everybody wants to say that Harden was going to come here and make a stink and a brouhaha, whatever. But he's getting the balls, guys, because he knows that this is his opportunity. This is his best chance to win, and everybody is playing better because of it.
Yeah, I mean, people were shooting targets and darts and arrows and everything they could at Harden. Yeah, and I mean, a little bit was just because the way he kind of forced his way out of Brooklyn. I get it. Right. And I guess he was never heralded as this bad teammate.
No.
Him and Russ, that's not a great combo, right? Him and CP, they were just a little bit too similar. So they ran into each other and butted heads sometimes. And, here he is. This is a center in him. It's 2 different things. I said it the other day. It's not Capella. It's not Dwight Howard. This is a center that can actually play ball and shoot. It's not just the, throw above the rim game. He's got so many more different things he can do with Embiid. It's a dream come true. And we're going to run into some games here like we did in the first half tonight where it's just not working. But for what we've seen so far, this can work against a lot of teams. And Cease, thanks for checking in. I'm going to get into this in a minute, but going to that Bulls game Monday is tremendous. We got a huge game this Saturday, too, at the Heat. So Sixers have quite a run over these next 4 games after tonight. So, hey.
I'm going against Denver next Monday.
Are you?
Yeah.
Nice. Now let's talk about tonight. Yeah, and I know we're getting into, we've talked about it a little bit overall, but just the hype and the feeling of what tonight brought to the city. And you got to go back, and to 0-1.
Yeah.
It really feels like 0-1 all over again. Remember what happened in 0-1? There was a big trade at the deadline, wasn't there?
No.
No, not today.
Yes, the Kevin McCutumbo for an injured Theo Ratliff.
Correct.
And Ratliff was playing really well, but then he got injured, and the Sixers were able to make that trade. I mean, without that trade, they don't go, because it still was Iverson by himself, because Mutombo can only do so much. He's limited as an offensive player, but
they don't go. I agree 100%.
And no, it's not even close. And even with Ratliff, I don't know, but they did start off the season great. I think they were to start the season, but it was a big get for them to be able to do it. But it wasn't the same magnitude, because obviously, like, we already had Iverson. We brought in Mutombo, who I think was falling out of his prime a little bit at that point. Like, he was still a very good player, but it really wouldn't have changed things. I mean, they ran into Shaq and Kobe, the beginning of Shaq and Kobe. That's pretty much what they ran into. It's, one of the greatest duos ever do it.
Yeah, and I mean, to steal a game off them, they haven't lost a game in the playoffs.
I still look back at that, and I'm like, wow, they won game 1 in LA.
Yeah. And that was, if you remember, that was their only loss, I think, in the playoffs all year.
Yeah, I think they went 17-1, or no, 16-1.
Yeah, I mean, they might have had one, but it wasn't more than that.
I'm pretty sure they swept everybody going into that.
That's what I thought it was too. So, I mean, you're talking about a historic team, but no, they don't get there without the addition of Mutombo. Mutombo, like, Iverson's defense was good, but it was always gambling, right? So it was, he needed protection behind him to be able to make those gambles. And then, you had the tough Eric Snow that could do a lot of other things. George Hill, that could get into the, better players like Glenn Robinson. Snow would take Ray Allen, and then you could have, Iverson do his things versus all these different people, and then Mutombo have the, relief in the back. But that's what it felt like in 0-1. 0-1, you felt the buzz, right? Because you had lost a couple of years before that. But you saw the growth and the transition, and the Larry Brown system finally starting to grow its roots, as our boy Sirianni would say, and really start to fertilize and work. But I don't want to say that's Doc, because it's only his second year, but it is this team a little bit. Now they got that piece. This city hasn't felt this since 0-1.
No. And I mean, you really have given yourself the best opportunity to win. I mean, like I said, it obviously looking at revisionist history, but I was saying this back then. I think it was imperative that they get this done any way possible going into the line, because even
I said it from the start. You can't. The half year is important,
right?
Yeah,
because it could set up for next year as long as everything stays constant. Then you have all that more time, and I think that Harden will look to make sure that they, that they get that work in. That they oh my God, Maxey is a killer. He's an absolute killer. I
just leave it at that. I'm like 10 seconds behind.
I know. But I mean, this is but the thing is, the floor spacing is something that probably the NBA has never seen before with these two, with the two of them playing at their high points. Like, you have one of the best scoring guards and the best scoring center.
Yep.
And everybody else is benefiting off of it. I mean, this is unheard. I've never seen such floor spacing. I mean, like, I guess Golden State's comparable, but it's different though, because of the high-low game. It changes the whole court dynamic, where in Golden State, you're like, okay, you got Clay and Steph, so you just guard from out, not in.
No, it's great. Hey, we got a good comment, and let's tackle this one before we talk more about that floor spacing. I'm going to be honest. I think he plays both C's. It's go time, and it's Cavs Heat, and both those teams are right in the mix for your spot, where you're at or where you're trying to get, right? So the Cavs are right there. I think they lost again tonight, so they're now 3 back in the loss column. But you need to win that game, and you're only 2 behind the Heat in the loss column. Heat have a tough one tonight in Milwaukee, even though they're hanging on, looking all right. I think it's full go time for Embiid. I don't think it's no more, sit in the stroller. I think you got to get him out and walk around and run.
An absolute dud.
Yeah, so you agree?
I agree. I think you got to just run him out there now. Look, I know it's risky. I know you take the chance with injury and everything like that. But I mean, if the way that it goes, you can't avoid it. Either it's going to happen, or it's not.
Agreed.
And the way he plays, I mean, he still plays reckless. Like, it is what it is. It's not, if he misses one game, he's not going to get injured. Like, I agree. I think you got to let the momentum ride. As long as they win this game tonight, which I think if I saw, you got to keep it going as much as you can.
I agree.
No reason to take your foot off the pedal.
And they're not a team right now. I mean, they
don't have that clout either, and they're still in chase and they're hunting. And if we want to talk about Embiid getting MVP, the more games he plays, the more he solidifies the opportunity.
Well, and I really put that comment up there when you were talking about floor spacing for a reason, because in my opinion, the only way you can get better and better to develop this chemistry in this team is to keep playing. We need to accelerate this, last 20 games that Harden's here. So you got to play. And that's another reason I think is no load management. And I think you got to keep playing with these guys to get better for this huge playoff run that we have ahead and this big potential that we now have on our hands. So I think they're playing. I think they're playing both nights. The only thing you might see is if you get a little lead versus Cleveland, maybe back it off a little bit.
Sure.
But he's playing.
It's fine, but yeah.
Yeah. So talking about the floor space and what's really neat and what you talked about earlier, how they've been able to just develop this, wild, like we're getting all these good shots, is to watch this half-court defense, right? And Joe said it, his first game and another night, and he's like, I've never been this open. And a lot of that might be a shot at Ben Simmons, but really the point being is I don't think it was as much a shot at him as it was, this is what a point guard should be.
Yes.
That's the absolute truth. Like he like if you tried to run high screen roll Ben Simmons, it wouldn't work because his defender's at the foul line. It wouldn't matter, right? And
they're just going to drop. They're just going to drop with them.
Right. So now he's actually seeing what basketball should be played when you have a scoring point guard, and it's fantastic. So it's not just this is what we kind of dreamt up when you had the combo of Embiid and Simmons, but without jump shot, he just can't do it, right?
Right.
And now you have someone that does, and it's pretty, it's amazing, it's beautiful basketball.
Yeah, I mean I was always looking for that complement player to be a scoring point guard, like always. He's always needed, like a wing guy, like a Butler. Even though Butler plays guard too, Butler was more of that wing type, and he wasn't your given scorer. He could score, don't get me wrong, but not at the pace that Harden does. Like, doesn't play the game the way that Harden does. He's not your pure point guard. Like, he kind of was like a hybrid combo. Like, Harden is the absolute prototype of what you play with. And I remember back in the day when Kemba was still in his prime and he was a free agent and he ended up going to Boston. I said Kemba would have been a nice piece to be with Embiid, obviously looking at it now. But I always said that Harden was the perfect player to go with Embiid. And the fact that we're actually here and we're seeing it and we're watching it. And I think the floor spacing is better than I could have thought. And to
see Tybal do this stuff, right? The backdoor cuts, because he's always had that basketball IQ.
Right. And
to do these things.
Yeah. I mean, Harden's court vision is absolutely impeccable. He's chucking passes across the court.
Come on. Does that give him 10? I need 10 assists from Harden, so I was just trying to see.
Yeah.
I think he's 9. Shit. I need double. Yeah, that's all right. Let him play last minute.
They need this goes back to what you're talking about, getting them together, getting them all the reps that they can. No, but I mean, you're even seeing Thibault's scoring is going up. Again, he's cleaning up, but it's all that matters. I mean, the one thing that I was alluding to earlier is, well, actually, one point I want to make before I forget it because I keep forgetting it. Harden's defense has looked
It has.
pretty decent so far. It's not amazing. Like, obviously, he's not a defensive player of the year candidate, but he's just making, poking at the balls from behind. And like,
But,
that
and he's
sounds
playing
terrible,
physical,
but
right?
yeah,
He's not giving up his space, and he's playing smart, crafty. It's like old man ball defense. The guys
Yeah.
that you hate at the Y in the pickup games that you talked about earlier that just find ways to knock you off balance. Like he's playing that craftiness.
And this might be the best defensive team he's ever played on.
Yeah, I'm with you. We're not.
Are you going to
We're
go
not as great defensively as I think a lot of people have us, but we got great defenders, individual defenders. We need to get better as a team.
Right. Yeah.
I struggle rebounding.
But I'm saying when you got Matisse and Joel Embiid, two great defensive players in their own right.
Yeah. Yep. No, I'm feeling you there.
Yeah, that's yeah. I think if they can figure out team defense, it's something great.
Yeah. Yeah, but sky's the limit. So now we're talking Sixers, we're talking and we're having fun, and it's going to be just a wild next couple months here, and just figuring out where they can go. I ask you this. Come on, hit that. Shit.
Yeah, I know.
Oh, that's a rebound though, right? They might get a rebound. They might. Anyway, here's what I got to ask you. Who's our biggest challenge in the East?
Milwaukee.
Okay, and give me reasons.
So, well, I'll eliminate Brooklyn first because they're not going to have enough time to gel. Now, Durant's coming back tomorrow, I believe. That's the return. But Ben's not playing for maybe the next month. So they're not going to have that chemistry. I know that the mandate at some point probably will be lifted from New York. But again, at this time, the chemistry is not there. So that takes them out of it. You look at the Heat. I think the Heat have good players, but now with Harden, I think before Harden, it's a tough matchup, but Embiid can just dominate Adebayo on his own. And I think that Harden's just going to cause so much problems for Miami. So I eliminate them. And the other team, so I will go. So now Milwaukee.
Yeah.
Milwaukee, I think they just have a core three of Holiday, Giannis, and Middleton that just are still – they have run together. They're experienced. They're playing well. I mean, don't get me wrong. They lost to us. They lost to the Nets. But with Giannis, I don't count him out yet.
Yeah.
I think he's still valid, and I think that team is still good. They've lost out on Connaughton and DiVincenzo. So, it's been a little tough go for them. Yeah. But I still think that their experience gives them the upper hand, just the slight edge.
All right. So I'm not far off, but here's why I'll eliminate Milwaukee for me.
Sure.
Listen, if Robin Lopez doesn't find a way back, man, come on, dude. We had 3 shots for him to get a double-double, and nobody made one. But if I said Robin. If Brook Lopez doesn't come back, he's out indefinitely with back injury. That team is playing as a historic level of bad defense.
Yeah.
Bad defense. And I just think you go against this machine right now of offensive firepower. I'm not sure they can hold up for 7 games. And now if they lose again tonight, which they look like they're about to, I think they're 3 games behind the Sixers. They're down 10 late, man. And I just think they'd have to play 4 of them here. And I respect Milwaukee. I like Milwaukee. But there ain't anybody down low that's going to be able to do anything against Embiid. They tried this double team theory last game.
Right.
Didn't work. And then now think about it. Harden's there. You're not going to be double teamed Embiid in that space.
Yeah.
So I'm going to eliminate Milwaukee. I will not put Brooklyn away in a casket yet. I do think there's, my concerns with Brooklyn really lie in that they have what I think is the best player in the league, Kevin Durant. I just think he's overall the best player. So it's going to be hard if you went up against them. But for me, it is Miami. Miami, I think, would be one of the toughest matchups. It just depends when you get them. And I say this, if we end up 1-2 and we got Miami in the Eastern Conference Finals, I feel way better.
Yeah.
They're 8 deep with old players. You know, the Lowrys, the Butlers, the Adebayos. And I think, but I still think they're a team that can match up physically, push us around a little bit, make things challenging, create some space issues. So it's Miami for me. I get you with Milwaukee,
Yeah.
but unless they have Brook Lopez, I think they're a problem. I don't know how they can figure out us.
Yeah. No, I totally understand. I mean, I could see Miami being more of a thorn than the Nets, but like I said, until we see what Milwaukee actually is, if that's the case, I can't go against them right now being defending champs. And, we beat them, but it was a tough game. But I know that was before Harden, but
Yeah.
things
There
are
we go.
now. So we'll see. I just want to see how we play against. So these games coming up this weekend. It's
Yeah.
back to back. I mean, if they come out both with, decent wins coming out both of those, I mean, sky's really the limit. But I'm not going to be end of the world either, because I know they have to gel, and the Knicks and the T-Wolves are not the toughest teams. But they were able to, but not terrible either.
Yeah.
Not terrible either. Both of them. Both filled with talent.
Yeah. No, agreed. This is like one of the deepest the East has ever been.
Yeah.
Up and down. Like you could potentially see a Brooklyn Sixers first round series, 2-7, right? And you could then see a Miami Toronto, which Toronto's playing some decent ball. Boston, I mean, they could line up against Chicago.
Right.
A 3-6 game. They could, I mean, they're up towards the 5 now, 4-5 with Cleveland, but there's just some teams up and down here. And it's a really good conference, but the Sixers have just made it that much better. Now that I ask you this, and we always have to say this as we get closer to 310. 310 being next week, next Thursday. Ben play at all?
No,
there's no way, right?
No, they're talking about he might be out a month now.
Yeah.
And that doesn't make sense either. How do you have a back injury after not playing? Did you not condition? What'd you do?
I felt like the Harden sitting out the Milwaukee game, and he sat out 2 games, right?
Yeah.
I think 2 or 3, and I felt like that was a little bit of pomp and stance with the hamstring injury, just to.
Sure.
But Ben, yeah, I'm with you. Like that. That's not pomp and stance if you're going to be out for a month.
You didn't have something. Like, we know that with Harden, the hamstrings are legitimately an issue. Like, it kept him out last year in the playoffs.
Yeah, I think
it really hamstrung them.
Yeah.
It definitely was tongue-in-cheek, just to kind of, settle in, wait for the All-Star game. Like, it kind of took that time. And it was a legit excuse, but this makes no sense to me.
No. So I remember earlier in his press conference, he said he would play. Couldn't wait to play. There's just I never thought there was a chance.
Yeah.
And I think we're getting close to solidifying that. Now Durant comes back tomorrow, I think.
Yeah.
For the Nets, so it'll be interesting. I hear mask mandates could be lifted in New York. That's going to bring Kyrie into the play a little bit more. And again, when you have that firepower, you have Seth. You have, I still am a fan of Patty Mills. I think he's, how you use him with Seth. Goran Dragic is going to be interesting for me, how they piece him in and figure him out. But I still think they're trouble, and I'd prefer avoiding them. To be honest with you, in the first round, I'd prefer avoiding them.
I agree, and I get that. But I just think, the Sixers are going to have legitimate time with the squad that they're going to put out there.
Yeah.
Likely. This is probably the finished project, though there is something in the wings that could be coming, which, we have to get to. But the Nets, it's still going to be another 3 weeks, I think, before they have a full squad out there, if that happens.
Yeah. All right, so let's talk what's in the news for the Sixers right now. And I think we heard it after seeing what happened in the Lakers the other day. Release of DeAndre Jordan. This is someone that's very familiar with the Doc Rivers of the worlds. And didn't DeAndre play a little bit with Harden?
Yeah, I believe so. Wasn't he just with Brooklyn last year?
Yeah. So he was getting a little time there. So I think, for all it's worth, there's news that he's going to be available potentially for buyout, leaning towards the Sixers. I think the way it works with the Sixers and luxury tax, they want him to clear waivers. If they can just sign him as a free agent,
Right.
saves them a significant amount of money. So we'll see how that goes. I'm not sure how many teams are pining at getting DeAndre Jordan through waivers because then you got to pay the Lakers portion of the salary. So
Right.
we'll see what happens here. But Willie Cauley-Stein came in this week. He's only on a 10-day, right?
Yes, he is only on a 10-day contract, but he really hasn't gotten much
He
time.
got no burn tonight. They used Millsap.
Yeah, they throw him in at the very end there. You're not even. I understand.
I guess he's not the guy then, right?
They must have just taken a flyer on it and just seen if they need to actually throw him in there. The only unfortunate thing is, you want to see that, they're not really throwing Reed or Bassey out there. You might as well see what you have with those guys. And DeAndre Jordan has a chance to be a locker room guy. He's a good team morale guy. He's experienced. So there's all those going for him. But I mean, if you can get it at the right price, I think it's worth a shot. But you're really hampering, though, your young talent that you have. You do have good players in Bassey and Reed, who I think need to get more run with Harden because they can do the
But really,
the
you need Bassey and Reed. You need Bassey and Reed to run with Harden.
Well, I'm just saying, I mean, it's better than bringing in a Willie Cauley-Stein, which obviously they see nothing going on with. And
well, you need rebounding. I'm not sure you get the rebounding out of Reed. Maybe a little out of Bassey, but he's a rookie. I think you need veteran, and I'm okay with Cauley-Stein. I was.
They obviously aren't giving him the time today.
I agree. I agree, and I see where you're going. I'm just saying, at the time they signed him, I was okay with it.
Yeah, let's give a look.
Yeah,
but we're not seeing it.
No, we're not seeing it. So it will be interesting to see what they do. I think that's it, though, right? We talked about it before. Lock it up.
That's the market dried up. There was nothing. Gary Harris didn't come loose.
Yeah. And it doesn't like Schroeder did.
No, Schroeder didn't.
Stuck in Houston. It's so stupid.
I mean, yeah, I don't understand that at all. But
he would be so much better than Korkmaz. But
it's tough.
It's tough. That's all you got to do. But all right, that kind of wraps up the Sixers talk for tonight. I mean, just for tonight.
Don't worry, there's a lot more.
Yeah, we're excited. Well, you know what? Let me give one final thing here. We talked about who might be, our biggest threat here. Are you fully convinced that the Sixers are the team to beat in the East?
I think now, looking at it, yeah. I think if this is even half of what we've seen, like even against the good teams of it, because they've shown, like honestly, like when they were down to start when they started the second half, I mean, Joel Embiid 6 points right off the back with the up behind him, and one, and then the 3-pointer from the assist from Harden. Like they can turn it on with that much firepower with that starting lineup going into the third quarter like that. And it shows. So they can take over the game at any moment. And then it seemed like the Knicks were coming back somewhere a little bit in the fourth quarter, and it just got shut down real quick. Maxey made a couple, tough runners and a couple threes. He had that 3, with the shot clock going down. He just turned around and threw it up there. Like I said, I know we talked about before, but he just looks even better than he's been, which I did not think was possible.
I didn't think was possible too. And I talked about last night on Heat Ratio Live. I thought the key to this team is still going to be Tobias, because I think you're going to need Tobias one night. You're just going to need him, right? And, I was really frustrated with him early. He had a decent fourth quarter here tonight. And as long as he's getting 8-9 shots, I think he's going to be just fine. He's not that kind of guy that is just going to want one. I think he can fade into the fourth role It's amazing
Yeah,
because I really thought he'd be the third role.
so did I, but he's not that high volume guy. He's not
But
shaking.
Maxey is.
Yeah, yeah. So
How did we know?
it's incredible. I'm happy for him, but he's a blue blood. He's a blue blood. That's why.
Yeah, that's it. Kentucky. But yeah, I'm with you. This team is the team to beat right now in the East. With all due respect to Miami, we get it. But again, they are so thin. They're starting Gabe Vincent game in and game out. They rely on Hero off the bench. Duncan Robinson starts for them. Like
Yeah,
that just
and
doesn't
that's somebody that they thought that they were going to be looking to trade away.
right. But they don't strike fear in my eyes from,
Yeah.
when you get us in a 7-game series and we can start to make all these tweaks and adjustments. PJ Tucker is a starter for them. Like,
Yeah.
I just don't like, they're good and they have an amazing coach, but it's, I think it'll be tough. And even tonight, look at a game like tonight, they went 9 deep tonight and Dedmon got 11 of those minutes. They're 8 deep. That's what they are. There's Martin getting 20 off the bench, Hero, and Strus getting 22 minutes, and it's just, I don't know. I think we are absolutely positioned very well to be the team to beat, and we're deep. I feel like we're deep. You saw some Yang help tonight. I thought Green played poorly, but on a given night, if we can camp him out in the corner, he's good. Shake looked all right.
Yeah.
You got a lot of options. I mean, Furkan, I don't even know if he got second half run because how bad he looked early, but some nights he looks great.
Yeah. And you know what? That's it. It'll be a revolving door, but you got your 3 players and you go off of that.
Yeah, I'm looking for Furkan got 5 minutes. So he only got that little run in the second quarter where he looked terrible.
Yeah.
And then some nights, first Milwaukee, he got 28 minutes. Like, it was crazy. Yeah. But you can do that based upon matchups. That's why I think this team is set up very well for the playoffs. All right, Mark, let's transition over to the NFL.
Yes.
A lot of news just leaking out here and there. All around the league. You got Aaron Rodgers throwing cryptic Instagram messages up there, thanking everybody from, the training staff to who wrapped his ankles to, his best friend's wife, Randall Cobb's wife. It was just, it's weird. And he was just saying because he was cleansing himself that, that's why, these memories are hitting him. You got Russell Wilson, trade talks getting hot and heavy. Carson Wentz news now talking about potentially a target destination in Washington. A lot of stuff going on. What are you hearing out there that really is starting to, catch your attention?
It seems like the Steelers, Commanders, they're both interested in Jimmy G, and they also have interest in Carson Wentz. It seems at least the Commanders do for sure. But the Commanders, Washington football team, whatever they are, they also have said, well, worst come to worst, we'll go with Mitch Trubisky as a potential starter for them. So that's kind of what they're looking at. You had Pete Carroll say that, giving up Russell Wilson's not a thing. That's all talk right now because we also had Howie.
They have no picks.
We have Howie Roseman saying that Jalen Hurts is the guy. I think everybody's taking the stance of he's our guy until he's not our guy anymore, and everybody's just got to play poker face right now.
Yeah,
I hope that's the case because it's just I take myself into that and go, what do I think about this team with Jalen Hurts as the quarterback? And it's just like, hope to make the playoffs, and that's it, and be lucky at that. And there's a lot of talk on the radio and everything like that Jalen Hurts is, he has the opportunity. He is more than capable of leading this team. How? He hasn't shown a thing. And the teams that they beat were garbage. I mean, you look at the track record last year, they're garbage. They didn't have quarterbacks or anything like that. So looking through everything that's going on and reading the team leaves, and then it sounds like Rodgers could return. I think everybody's just kind of playing hush-hush right now. maybe let's see what the combine has more to offer. But there's some talk, nothing too crazy.
No, but one crazy thing that came out today, and I mean, I will get into the Hurts thing in a minute. And I'll give my take on that, but it sounds like the Dolphins are out on Watson.
They are.
Yeah, and I thought that was a little bit news. I wonder if that's what's his name, Mike McDonald or something like that,
Yeah.
their new coach. I wonder if that's his move or it's just like we got to move on and we can win
Right.
with Tua. Like I wonder if he's come in and just been like, listen, I won with Jimmy G. I can freaking win with Tua. Like I wonder if that's his case and don't give up the equity in which they don't have a lot of because we
Right.
have their first round pick. I feel like it might. I feel like that one might be real.
I believe so too. I mean, Chris Greer, because he reached out to New Orleans to try and see if they could pry Sean Payton away.
Yeah,
for whatever reason, which I found interesting. But
he'll be Dallas's coach next year.
Yeah. That's exactly what's going to be.
Yeah, but I do feel like that one is a real news, which means that limits, and the reason we bring that up, it's one of your eyes on the prize. That limits the targets probably that, where Watson could go. Because I just don't think, any other team that's out there that's stocked and positioned, there's not one better than the Eagles. Like they just have what
they have the assets
would need in a return value. And I don't like Miami might have been able to give up some future picks, but and they're okay on defense, but there's not a lot of teams out there. Like the Giants aren't going to sit there. They got 5 and 7. I don't see the Commanders. I don't see a lot of these teams give up that much equity for Watson, and I don't see him wanting to go to those teams either.
Right. I mean, there's talks that he doesn't want to come here, but I think you look at
he doesn't have a choice.
Well, that's the thing. I don't, how much of a choice does he have anymore? And there's stuff to play with here. I think, you have Devontae, you have Goddard, you have a team that you can build around. Kenneth Gainwell, I think, is going to be something. Howie said he wouldn't talk on the Miles Sanders situation, which I think is going to be interesting. I think he go into this year with a lame duck contract. I think that's what it's going to be. I don't think they're going to give him, and it's going to kind of be boom or bust.
I saw one mock draft with us getting Kenneth Walker, the third from Michigan State, and he's amazing.
That's something I would just hold out, take him in the second round or
second, even early third. There were some projections. Yeah,
if he falls to them, I think that's your bet, and you don't have to go and pay Sanders because I don't think it's worth it at all. And you got Gainwell, and I think you can have a good situation there. So we'll see with that piece. But the Deshaun Watson thing, like, there's reasons to come here and play. And the other destinations, he might want to be in Miami or might want to be in Carolina, but they're not in better situations than here. I think this is a good chance for him. Yeah. So the Hurts news, my take on that today. If Howie has to come out today on March 2nd, what is the year begins? What, in 2 days or something? Yes, I think, or the 4th.
Yeah, I think it's the 5th. Yeah, I think you're right. And like for him to have to say that means that he has to put out some fire. Yes. I mean, there's no other. Like we do not have another quarterback on the roster that would threaten Jalen Hurts. Right. None. The only thing that could threaten him is the potential to draft one or trade for one. Sure. And maybe the fire's getting a little hot, and he just had to put something out for now. It's just like when they said, "No, James Harden's not coming here," when we knew 3 days before it was happening. Right. And we knew it just had to get the pieces right. I felt like today's news really pushes me in a direction. Jalen Hurts is not the starting quarterback for the Eagles next year. I'm starting to firmly believe that. I don't know who it will be. I can't put my finger on that pulse yet. I think there's too many things that go in a Russell Wilson trade for me to confidently say that comes. And there's too many things in a Deshaun Watson trade. It's not Jimmy G. It's one of those two, or we're seeing one in the first round. And now, if you see one in the first round, you're probably
that Hurts is a guy.
But I think so. That just tells me more and more they're really entertaining this idea to trade maybe 2 of their first round picks this year to get someone like Wilson or Watson. And I mean, I'm good with it. I just know this team needs a lot more than a starting quarterback.
They do, but I think if they don't get the starting quarterback, I think they're looking at jeopardy, or they're looking at not jeopardy, purgatory. Sorry.
Yeah, no, I got you.
I mean,
like
because
I'd say the Commanders were in purgatory since Kirk Cousins, right? They can't find anything to answer that.
They have good defense. They have Terry McLaurin. They have Antonio Gibson. Like, they have a good team, but they don't have a quarterback. So until they get that figured out, they're in purgatory.
And you could even say Tennessee, very similar situation. Thought
Right.
they had Tannehill, and then he just
echelon purgatory.
Yeah.
Because they have AJ Brown, they have Julio Jones, and they have Derrick Henry, and they have a decent defense, and Mike Vrabel's a good coach. But you only go as far as your quarterback will take you.
If he's throwing 3 picks, you're not winning a playoff game, and that's what he did.
Exactly. I mean, they really should have beaten the Bengals, but they didn't.
Oh, absolutely, they should have.
And I think Tannehill's a better quarterback than Hurts.
Oh yeah,
but it just shows.
I do, but he's not franchise. That's the thing about quarterback that you talk about. He's already I don't know. So yeah, it'll be interesting for sure. Now this week, Mel Kiper's new mock came out, right?
Yeah.
And they had some surprises. Devin Lloyd's going top 10 now, and I was like, oh yeah, man, stop. Had the Eagles going after. And Drake London went like number 11, who is my favorite receiver in this draft. That would be very disappointing. Then the Eagles getting a receiver from Arkansas.
Traylon Burks.
Yeah. Burks is solid.
6'3", 225, fast, electric.
Yeah. He didn't have much thrown to him. Felipe Franks, if you remember that name, threw to him 2 years ago. This year, I forget who it was. But, yeah, so – really good player. I get it. And they even said he could rise further. And then who else? They had a cornerback and a D line.
They had Ojabo.
Yeah, Michigan. Yep.
And
it was a cornerback that I hadn't seen before.
Oh, McDuffie?
I think that's what it was. Yeah.
I mean, a lot of people are saying he's good, but I don't really know enough about him.
But it's more about the positions. I think they're still aligning with the positions that I think they're going to get.
Yeah, I again, as much as we want to, they're not. I don't think they're going to go linebacker. It's just not in their DNA. I mean, if Devin Lloyd's there, look, you got to do it.
Yeah,
but
they're going to let Kobe go, and that burns me.
Yeah, see, and but I just think it's whatever it is in the Eagles' DNA, and Joe Banner passed it down, but they just don't draft linebackers high. And it's a position, Howie today was like, because I watched his press conference, he's like, oh, yeah, we're good in the linebackers, just like we're good at every other position. It's like, that's not true. Like, TJ Edwards was decent for you. And there's another one, whether it was Sean Bradley or somebody else. They're decent.
I say Jordan Hicks was decent at the time.
At the time, yeah, but I mean, that was a 3rd round pick who fell because.
Oh, you're saying earlier?
No. I was saying this year, but like.
Oh, this year. Oh, okay.
But when have they actually had a good like a real good linebacker, like besides Jordan Hicks? Like, not really.
Trotter, you might have to go back.
Right. I mean, we're going that far back. That's the point. And it's just there is 2 guys and one of them has the chance to be there, if not both.
Yeah.
And they won't do it. For whatever reason, the Eagles are anti taking a linebacker in the 1st round. But as much as Dallas couldn't do anything with Micah Parsons, because that's more of a team, that's a organizational failure, I think, if anything.
Yeah.
He's a pure impact player. Like, and when you see you have 2 of these guys coming out, you gotta grab one. Gotta put one on your defense.
You have to. Wow, the Bucks came back and won that game. Whew. By 1. Crazy. So that puts the Sixers 1 game out of the top spot. But yeah, it's 2 defense, 1 offense for me, and I'm still all for going for a receiver for the 3rd straight year in the 1st round. In fact, I mean, I'll be disappointed if we don't.
Right.
Just because there's 4 or 5 now that have top level talent.
Yeah, and there's not enough weapons for if Jalen is going to be the guy, even though it's the problem is he doesn't get the ball out to him. If Jalen's going to be the guy, you got to give him as much as possible. You have to coddle him with talent. That's what you have to do.
You have to, and it's going to be interesting. Now, as far as off-season moves go, we talked just quick as we'll transition baseball in a second. But Carson Wentz, what's the news you're hearing there? Because, like I said, he's out there practicing with him.
Right.
He's thrown around a little bit. I still think he's going.
I think he is too. I mean, I think it's the Colts, so obviously around the Super Bowl, the owner got mad and he was just like, I don't know if he's our guy. And he
got mad right after the Jacksonville game. But yeah, he was still mad then.
But still, I think everybody took it with a grain of salt right after, just because it was right then and there. But for almost a month later, being peeved about it and saying your real feelings when somebody should have been like, keep it shut.
Yeah.
He didn't, and he said it. And then Reich and Ballard had to come back and just say like, oh, we don't know. They really didn't give a glaring endorsement like, yeah, he's our guy.
Yeah.
So like they never solidified it. I think it's a lame duck situation for him now. And I think they don't want to get stuck with having him at quarterback again and having to pay him that money that they're going to pay him. So they'll eat the cap hit. They'll get a 3rd round pick back, maybe a second.
I got to be honest. I think it's a bad move for them. Like this will be 4 straight years of a different starting quarterback.
I mean, the Andrew Luck thing was just debilitating.
Well, that hurt, but he was out for that one whole year. He was their quarterback. Then it was like Brissett, then Rivers, then Wentz. And it's just
now a new quarterback. And it's a shame because they have a lot of talent.
They do.
Jonathan Taylor, Michael Pittman. You look at Darius Leonard. It's
I feel like they should shoot their shot. And listen, I'm not a Carson Wentz guy. I know you're not either, but I feel like
I was.
No, now. I'm saying now.
I know, but I mean, if anything.
It was.
Even though he kind of gets in his own way, I wish he would succeed still. That's just me, but
no, I was too, but I'm just saying he's better than probably what you're going to find out there.
Yeah.
You're not going to find it with Jameis.
No.
You're not going to find it. I didn't care what you say about Jimmy G. I mean, he could probably manage the games for you, but then you're going to have to give up Wentz, and whatever you get back, you get back. And you're going to have to pay more for Garoppolo than you just got for Wentz. And I think the whole science behind it just doesn't make much sense to me. But
to get rid of in this situation does not make sense. I agree.
One more year. I feel like they should, but
I mean, he was decent at times. If you just have to figure
7-7.
The problem is with him is he's stubborn.
Yeah.
Because half his turnovers should have never happened. And if those turnovers don't happen, they're in the playoffs.
Yep.
Half of them.
Yep.
He gets in his own way. He does have the arm strength. He does have the talent. But for whatever reason, he can't put it all together. Besides MVP year here, he beats to his own drum, and he tries making plays when the plays aren't there.
Yep. No, and that's going to happen quick. It has to, because he's due a bonus, I think, this weekend or somewhere.
I think there's something like that.
Yeah. But all right, we got 5 minutes left in the show. Yeah. Let's get to the what do you want?
The funeral.
Yeah. All right, let's get to the MLB and what was decided yesterday by the MLB, I guess, owners and Rob Manfred, and that is to continue the lockout. A deal could not be struck, and we're going to go with no baseball. And no baseball is just awful. And I'm going to just say this much. I just had some little league evaluations over the weekend. Had some drafts. We were just me and my kids were out in the field tonight pitching, and we're just little league is America's pastime. Baseball is, and little league is where that's built. And we're out there as unpaid volunteers, loving the game, doing it unselfishly. And we have these millionaires, billionaires fighting against each other to figure out what's right for them. Not what's right for the game in the future, or what's right for the kids that are watching now, or what's right for the role models. They just are fighting over millions. And it's saddening and it's sickening. And I don't care what side you're on. I mean, in this case, I probably am a little bit more on the player side, which is rare for me in these situations. But I will say that, it doesn't matter. It's millionaires fighting over billionaires. And it's got me so up a wall that we could ruin what was so important to me growing up. And if we lose any more baseball than the first two series, I'm out. I'm not going back to that stadium. I'm not paying you an effing dime of my money because you couldn't figure this thing out over the last 4 months. I'm frankly, I'm embarrassed. I'm embarrassed by what Rob Manfred did yesterday. You already alluded to it earlier with the smile. He's been a horrendous commissioner, and he's making it even worse. We haven't had work stoppage since 1994, and that almost ruined baseball.
Right.
And
that's when baseball was, still like in its prime.
Yeah, we're right there. What's happening now might be irreparable, and it will be to my age of people. You might be able to save some others, but guess what? Back when it was 94, my age of people hung around. 94, we were like 16, I don't know, 15. And we hung around because we had hope. The 15, 16-year-olds now, they got so many other things they can do. You're losing. We came back. They won't come back. And me in my 40s, I ain't coming back. You're going to ruin it for everybody.
You really are. Yeah, here's the thing. It's the attention span of people. Baseball has been it's a pastime, but it's an old sport, and it starts at the top because they have not been willing to change for the better. They tried saying they've updated the game by including analytics into the game, and I think it's just made the product worse. It's made the product slower. It's not exciting. It's not fun. It's too long. It drags. And with the way that we are as human beings, I mean, it goes to the phones. It goes to the, we process things. If it's more than a minute, nobody cares. And baseball is just the epitome of the antithesis of all of that. And with that being said, I still look at it like baseball. Like, I love the game of baseball itself.
Oh, I do too. It's a great game.
But nieces and nephews, they don't know. They don't care about baseball. They don't know anything about it, and nor do they want to know. I mean, kids these days are, into video games and stuff anyway, more than they are into sports. So you already have that. And then at least that there's other, like basketball and football right now are really just king at this point.
Yeah.
And if anything, people want to go play that. Nobody wants to even play baseball anymore, let alone watch it.
Well, and that's kind of the point. Like, baseball was starting to die down a little bit based on the new resources. Lacrosse, we've talked about soccer. Like, I see it. My kids are all ranged between 8 and 12, and there's a lot of other opportunities. And you did mention Xbox gaming. I get it, but even from the sports standpoint, there's just more out there. There wasn't lacrosse when I was growing up,
right?
And every sport is a year-round sport anymore too. So you pick up soccer, which was typically a fall sport. Now they're playing all year long. They're playing spring, and they tell you if you're going to play fall in the good league, you got to play in the spring league. And there's just a lot more pressure, a lot more other things to do. So you do tend to see kids leave a little earlier than you wanted. And now you got this. Like, we're picking MLB teams to wear for our unis this year.
They're not going to know.
They're not going to know, and they're not going to care because MLB is doing it to themselves.
Yeah,
it's a great game. It's strategic. It's fun. It's the best one that you can go to live from a sense that you can go make that an evening of just hanging out and not really having to be tied to what's happening out there. You can always catch up. You can figure it out because, like you said, the pace of the game really does lead itself to it's more of a social atmosphere.
Sure.
But they're killing themselves, and I'm damn done. I'm done. I'm done. If you can't figure this out in the next week or two, and I feel bad. I've been to 8 spring trainings in my life. I feel bad for everyone that bought tickets, that planned to go down there. They're
Yeah.
now canceling flights, probably not getting money back because these selfish bastards can't figure it out.
Right.
It sucks.
Yeah.
I can't even put it in any other terms.
No,
I hate these people.
right. I mean, I do think it's more on the owners and stuff like that. I think because they're worth so much and they have so much money that this doesn't bother them. It doesn't bother them that they're not. You know, I feel bad for all the minor leaguers and for the guys on the up and coming. Like those are the ones that I really feel bad for. You feel bad for the people who have jobs at these MLB stadiums. I mean, 81 games a year. I mean, you're taking money off the table. See, the ones who are up at the top, it doesn't affect them. They still get to sleep in their bed at night and everything's cozy and they still have the best of the best. That's not going to change. They have an entity. It's fine. And the good players, yes, I know most of them want to play. Like I truly think Bryce Harper, he's not worried about money. He wants to go out there and he plays. Like he did put that Instagram post up of like one of the Japanese baseball teams, like, you guys up? I have free time. I want to come over there and play, like joking around, being like, it doesn't look like this is happening.
Yeah.
He genuinely wants to play and stuff like that, but he's still comfortable. But the guys on the fringe, the guys who are, contract to contract and, make, I mean, it's still a lot of money, $300,000 a year. But remember, you only make that if you only get a couple of those little contracts. And then once you're retired, you don't have that money anymore. Like, it's just, so you can't. So I feel bad for those players. And then, like I said, the minor leaguers, even if they still get to play, they're not going to be playing to get onto a major league squad. So there's a lot. The people that it affects are the one that need the most. And yeah, it's the people up top who can't figure it out.
No, they can't. And I mean, I'm going to be honest. However this works out, owners are going to win, and that's why I'm more on the player side this way. Whatever concessions
they want to win, right?
Yeah, but whatever concessions they make on the other side, they give you a piece of the pie. They're going to shut you out in free agency. They're all going to collude together, and they're going to put lower salaries and lower bids up. It's a complaint that they had going in. You're not going to win this one. And unfortunately, I get the players making the stand, and I'm glad they are.
Yeah.
But long term, I just don't think either side wins.
The sport's going to die. And Marc Drumheller has said it for years now, like dating back to
he
2018, 19. He does, but he's been saying it for a while, like that's ancient history, and it's treating it as such. Because even if they do figure this out, they're nowhere close on figuring out how to keep it current and how to be up there.
Oh yeah, they're arguing about DHs still. Yeah. Hey, I love baseball. I know you do, and unfortunately, my love is the flame. Yeah, and the wick is getting near the end, and that's and it's all because of the greed. Yep. But with that, we wrap up a great hour-long session here on Fourth and Go. The Harden love, it's real, baby. We got it. Me and Mark, and I know everyone else out there in the Delaware Valley and Philly 444 region of anywhere of Philly fans know it's real and it's beautiful. And it's more than we ever expected. And we can't wait to see it blossom as we go forward here, as we do every Wednesday night on the Heat Ratio Network. I'm Dave Gluckner. It was a winning Wednesday. You know how we do.
Yep.
Each Wednesday.
Right now.
As we break it down, have some fun, and we'll have so much more next week. Mark, closing thoughts?
We're good.
And until next week, loving it here on the real Philly 444, plus so much more. Until next week, I'm Dave Gluckner. That's Mark Tomasini, and we are Deuces with a dub. Peace.